Hey, how's it going, everyone? Paul here, and today I want to go over an article that I saw as I was online because the title really caught my eye. And it says, 1 in 4 workers is considering quitting their job after the pandemic. Here's why, and it's by CNBC Make It. And this article just caught my eye because this has kind of been a growing trend and just kind of thought process that I've seen and heard people are having, where they're just not as comfortable with their current career trajectory as they previously were before the pandemic. And because of that, a lot of people are just seeing how they can plan out their next steps and their next moves. So as you kind of dig into this article, I have a part highlighted down here that really kind of stood out to me as the main part of who's leaving and why. And it states that of the 26% of workers planning to leave their employers after the pandemic, 80%, so a large amount of those, are doing so because they're concerned about their career advancement. Meanwhile, 72%, so also a very large amount, are saying that the pandemic caused them to rethink their skill sets. Basically, the skill is what you're going to be providing as a service. So when you learn new skills, you can perform new jobs, perform new services, and make money in different areas. So it also says that more than half of the potential job hoppers have sought out new trainings and skills during the pandemic, possibly to prepare to change jobs in the next few months. So there's a lot to unpack there, but when it really all kind of gets boiled down to it, it comes to people just being uncertain and having fear that the career path they're on is just not as secure as they thought it was. And we're seeing this with a lot of big corporations, 9-to-5s that people felt so secure in that they would work there for decades, get a pension, benefits, all of that. They're realizing that it's just not as secure as they thought, whether the company has to lay off staff, furlough staff, or even the company has to downsize or go out of business. That is really something that is brought to the light now that really wasn't before and wasn't on people's minds. But it was also very interesting because in this article, it states that in 2019, people were already starting to do this. They were already starting to look at new career paths, and people are jumping jobs a lot more than they used to, say, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So now that brings us to the question, what are all these people going to do? What are over a quarter of all people that are in the marketplace right now that want to quit jobs? How are they going to go about this? And that is where freelancing really comes into play. Because as a freelancer, a lot of these people are realizing that they can take their same skills, add a couple more on, and then build multiple streams of income from clients paying them all the time from every single different area they want to focus in, as opposed to just having one client that just pays them for their time. Of course, that would be a 9-to-5. Whereas as a freelancer, you're able to pretty much just grow at your pace and do what you want to do in your day-to-day life with that flexibility. So that kind of is also something else to really get into, because not everyone can just go and have success as a freelancer. Not everyone that you're going to see in this article and this kind of group of people are even right to be a freelancer. So some of them are just going to find a new job. They're just going to hop around for a long time. And there's nothing wrong with that. But for the people that are asking themselves, can I go into business for myself? Can I become a freelancer, a consultant, someone that is actually able to leave this 9-to-5 world and provide for themselves, their families, and build the life they want to? So in order to understand if this is right for you, you need to ask yourself if you fit into the mold, if you fit into what the 3 qualities of a profitable freelancer are. Now, I'm not saying you need to necessarily have these and you can't develop these qualities, but if this doesn't really align with where you're at, you're likely not going to have success as a freelancer when you go into business for yourself. Now, the first quality of any successful freelancer is the desire to have flexibility. And that desire also comes at a sacrifice of having to put in work that others don't want to do. So what I mean by that is if you're willing to put in the work and build your career from the ground up as a freelancer, you can get the flexibility that you really crave, that you desire. And that's one of the other big reasons that people are just really kind of shifting more towards remote work and also freelancing and just remote work positions in general, is because they want more flexibility. They don't want to be tied to a commute during rush hour traffic just to get to work, have to deal with all the politics in a corporation, have to do all the small talk just to get home and maybe have an hour to eat dinner and unwind before they have to go and do that again. And I was in that cycle, and there's nothing wrong with it if you're working for a company you love and you're doing everything that you really feel called to. But if you're not, I'm telling you that lack of flexibility will begin to eat away at you. So you need to have the desire to want to build the flexibility. It doesn't mean as soon as you start freelancing, you're going to be able to just work whenever you want. But what it does mean is if you put in the work, you build yourself from the ground up the right way as a professional freelancer, a profitable freelancer that is treating it like a business, you can have that flexibility. And when we say flexibility, I mean freedom. I mean freedom over your day. And the flexibility is just really something that relates to all the different aspects of your life, from the micro down to what you do every single day, all the way to the macro, which is planning vacations, being able to spend more time with your family. And there's just so much there, but that is the first quality if you want to be a profitable freelancer. Now, the second quality to be a profitable freelancer and to be a successful freelancer is you need to have the desire to create more for yourself and to live up to your potential. And what I mean by that is there's so many people, far too many people that quite frankly just do the minimum in life. They do just enough to get by at their job, in their life. They do enough where, nothing bad necessarily happens to them, but at the end of their life, they're filled with all these regrets, all these questions in the back of their head. What if I tried harder in my career? What if I started that business? What if I learned that new skill? And all of those what ifs eat away at you so much more than if you tried something and you failed. You know that, okay, at least I gave it my all, at least I tried it. So that's the other quality you need to have if you want to be successful when you're working for yourself as a freelancer, as a consultant, is the desire to live up to your potential and to your earning potential. And now that brings us to the third quality of a successful freelancer, and that is you need to have discipline. So with all of this, with all of these amazing benefits from freelancing that come, like all the flexibility, the earning potential, it doesn't work if you're not disciplined. So if you think you're going to just be a freelancer so you can just work 2 days a week and just play video games and just kind of slack off, that is not the right career path for you, because some people do need that rigid schedule. They need to show up at the office, because if not, they don't have that discipline to get themselves up, to shower, to get dressed, and to just get to work if it's not something that they have to do necessarily. And that is something that is more like a muscle. So if you don't have a lot of discipline, it's something you can build. And there's a lot of different ways you can build discipline. And it really all comes down from practice and laying out a schedule that you stick to and that you allow yourself to be held accountable for. So to recap, if you have the desire to create flexibility in your life and the desire to really live up to your full potential, and then on top of that, you have the discipline to actually hold yourself accountable for things, then you are a great candidate to be a freelancer. And on my channel, I have a bunch of content about how to start a freelancing business, how to start a consulting business, how to make money online, get clients on Upwork, and much more, all about freelancing content. So if you want to learn more about that, check out my other videos, hit the like button on this video. I hope this was helpful for some people that are just thinking about becoming a freelancer, or maybe that just want to quit their job and they don't even know what that next step is, but they just know it's something different than waking up every day and going to a job that they hate and not even getting paid that well for it. So once again, as you can see, I'm very passionate about this. And if you want to hear more, leave a comment down below what you want to hear about, and I'll cover it in a future video. But until the next one, I look forward to your success.